Hello everyone, Johnny Hurricane here from GamersHeroes.com, and why don't you sit back, relax, and let me tell you about Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Let's get started. Before we go any further, the game was reviewed on PC and a code was provided by the publisher. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order follows the journey of Cal Kestis, one of the few surviving Jedi from the Jedi Purge. Cal's been laying low, hiding out, and working as a shipbreaker at an Imperial outpost. While on the job, he discovers a crashed Jedi starfighter and reveals that it has been 5 years since the infamous Order 66 has taken place. Before getting a chance to salvage the starfighter, the deck Cal is working on breaks down, sending him and his co-worker tumbling down to their potential deaths. It is at this moment that Cal decides to use his force powers and save his friend. 5 years of keeping his head down goes up in smoke in an instant, as this slight use of the force is enough to get him detected. The Sith Inquisitors, namely the Second Sister, arrive to find the Jedi and bring them in. One intense escape later, like Uncharted 2 train escape later, Cal is partnered up with a new crew, a new ship, and a new mission. He has the opportunity to rebuild the Jedi Order if he can find the Jedi holocron located on a hidden planet. This holocron has a list of Force-sensitive children on it, and it could be the key to driving back the Empire. The journey from start to finish will run you roughly 20 hours, and it's a game you won't want to put down. The story itself is excellent, but what really brings it together is Cal's personal journey. Cal was not a full-fledged Jedi during the Purge, he was only a Padawan. You can sense his reservations about him being the one reforming the Jedi Order. He has doubts, fears, and confidence issues, as anyone in his shoes should. The Empire already wiped the Jedi out once, why wouldn't they be able to do it again? The journey of going from Jedi Padawan to true Jedi is one of the best written video game stories in years. It is a masterclass of personal growth and character development, not often seen in any media, let alone video games. The reason it works so well is that Cal has lost most of his connection with the Force. When you start the game, you can only use Force Slow and Force Echo, which we'll go over later. As the adventure continues, however, you gain access to moves like Force Pull and Force Push. While these moves are great in combat, they are also vital to exploration. At its core, Fallen Order is a Metroidvania. You will often go back to areas you've already been to discover new secrets, new paths, and new upgrades. Each new Force ability feels like a milestone for Cal, a glimpse into the Jedi that he can truly become. That, and using Force Push to send 5 stormtroopers off a ledge feels incredible. Not just the first time, but every single time. And let's talk about the combat in a general sense for a moment. I want to be careful about how I word this so I don't scare anyone off. It does have a very Sekiro feel to the way you parry and block, but it's nowhere near as tricky as that title. I've read people worrying that it's a Soulsborne, and to an extent it is, but it is by far the easiest Soulsborne you will ever play. There are multiple difficulties, and I played on normal, which is recommended, and I want to say I died roughly 7 or 8 times. There's also an easy mode, which is pretty much, hey, you want to experience the story? Here you go. You don't got to worry about combat that much. You still fight, you still feel powerful, deflecting lasers with your lightsaber still feels great, but you're not stressing over the combat every time. The parry mechanic will give you an edge in combat, but dodging and blocking works just as well if you don't want to worry about timing. Anyone looking for a actual brutal challenge, there are 2 additional difficulties past normal, so you can get your challenge here as well. Other than the stormtroopers, you will face purge troopers from time to time. These troops wear black armor and use electricity weapons to face you head on. You can get through them without much trouble when it's a one-on-one, but when it's multiple purge troopers and stormtroopers at the same time, you're going to experience some stress. The mental gymnastics you go through on who to defeat first is quite something in this game. Sure, you can focus on the purge trooper first, but then you gotta worry about stormtroopers shooting you from the side. On the other hand, the stormies go down in one hit, but you're gonna leave yourself open to purge trooper attacks. I talk a lot about what the game does right, but the way it makes you feel strong without feeling overpowered is one of its best strengths. The upgrade system complements the journey by improving your lightsaber skills, force powers, and overall strength and stamina. They are meaningful, and each one brings you one step closer to becoming a true Jedi Knight. While initially your force push can only push back basic stormtroopers and only one of them at a time, you can upgrade it so it actually pushes back multiple targets and even giant targets. Earning these skill points takes time and effort. If you want to fill out the entire skill tree, you'll have to find all the secrets and defeat the hardest enemies. That said, you don't need all the skills to complete the game. This brings us to Force Echo, Cal's unique ability that most Jedis don't have. Force Echo allows Cal to see into the past of particular objects so he can see who has interacted with them. Its story implications are obvious. It helps him find out how to get the Jedi Holocron, among other things. Where it really shines is during exploration. When he uses it on an object on the different worlds, he learns more about those planets and the people who live there. None of this is required, but if you dig deep enough to find all the secrets, you won't be disappointed with the results. It adds another layer to the game's already fantastic world building. Any good Star Wars game where you play as a Jedi gives you lightsaber customization, and Fallen Order delivers. Different colors, different pummels, different switches, layers, and even the metal you use on your lightsaber can be changed. None of it changes your stats or gives you a buff one way or another, allowing you to make your lightsaber look how you want it to look without worrying about if it's stronger than it was before. You start off with only a few parts, and through exploration you will find new ones, encourage you to search off the beaten path. You also get new colors for your BD, your ship, and new ponchos. And before I wrap this up, let's talk about BD real quick, and the power of the Silent Companion. BD-1 is a tiny robot that holds your healing stins and accompanies you throughout the entire game. BD does do beeps and boops, but you don't have any clue what it's actually saying. Cal knows what it's saying, but you don't know what it's saying. The interaction between Cal and BD during the adventure gives a player a way to see what Cal is thinking or feeling without him seeming crazy or requiring some inner monologue. For all the doubt that Cal has, BD is there to remind him that if he doesn't do it, the Empire wins. It's the quiet moments of exploration that humanize this robot and make you feel for it almost as much as you feel for Cal.
Have I mentioned to you how awesome this is? Because you're pretty great.
Much like what Arkham Asylum did for Batman games, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order sets the new standard for Star Wars titles. Not only is it a great Star Wars game, it is also the best game of the year. Alright, that'll do it for me. If you liked what you saw and got what you needed, like, comment, subscribe. See you guys in the next video. Later, Gators!